What's going on, trades? Welcome back to Start Swing Trading, where we talk all about the swing trading action that's going on in the markets. And of course, get to some setups that you guys can take a look at. Today, we will have one of my favorite traders, of course. I've worked with him in the past. John from Beginner Trading, excited to get him on. He's going to be joining us at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. So stick around, team, for that. Let's get to the action. Let's take a look at the SPY right now first as we get in a nice little pop here in the power hour. It's definitely pushing strong here towards 397s. We'll see what happens there. Can we get back there towards 398 on the SPY? Definitely didn't expect to see this rally towards the end of the day, but that's exactly how this market can go, right? Anytime we expect to see something, we usually get the opposite. And I think that's something that we need to keep in mind when we keep going into this market. Today, definitely PCE numbers going in hot. And I felt that we should end the day red, right? I mean, that's exactly what those numbers gave me, but not the price action we're seeing here towards the close. And that could very much be what algorithms after lunch, of course, after 2 p.m., starting to get a little bit of a bounce back. We'll see what happens on those names. I can talk about some trades that I'm in right now. And there's one that I'm watching right now. It could stop me out any moment here. I'll talk a little bit about that. That's going to be Best Buy. And I don't like the way that it's reacting right now. It was looking really good. Really good, especially yesterday as we started coming towards this 82.04. We were looking deep into the green on Best Buy. I'm short here on Best Buy. I have an average at 83.15. Looking for this to get back down, but if it goes to that 84.50, I'm going to have to get out at Best Buy. We'll see what happens. I do really like this name, especially if it can crack 82 to come towards the 75s. So that's about 10-point win that I can push towards, right? We'll see what happens on Best Buy. There's a down gap below, and we have to just keep watch. But some of these stocks were kind of coming down fast, right? Macy's, department store kind of stocks not doing well today. We'll talk a little bit about those trades, but that's Best Buy. Just keeping an eye on it. I'll let you guys know if I do get out. Now let's go ahead and let's recap one that I definitely got stopped out on, which was Lilly. Eli Lilly coming through that kind of bear trend pattern and going through that 325 today got me out on that name. Didn't want to see it get down there, but like always, team, the only thing we can do is respect the levels. And I'm glad I respected it as we got in this cut down on it. It went down there pretty hard at the kind of opening action, went down towards a low of 320. So definitely stopping me out on that move. And like always, just got to respect the levels. We'll look to see if we can get back there towards that gap fill, towards the upside. But for right now, it's on the downside action. Let's go to another name here. Let's do Canara Brands. Canara Brands is one that we've been swinging for now 3 or 4 days. We got in this one kind of on Tuesday's price action. I've been holding it there for Wednesday and Thursday, going to continue going. And now I have actually added to the name on the price action today. Just want to start seeing it close back towards 37. If we can get that first push towards 37, we'll look for that to continue to work back there towards that 37.50s and then 38 above it. This is Conagra Brands. We'll look to see if we get that next lift. And just to kind of mention there, I did see discount stores up today, food distribution. But if you look here at packaged foods, it was actually down slightly today. So something to note. When we look at discount stores, that's where I start looking at different names that I was thinking about maybe taking a little bit of a swing on. One, I'll tell you right now, this setup right here on Ollie's looking really interesting, team. Take a look at the daily chart on Ollie. It had a nice little pullback, and you guys can see I created this on the 24th, was looking for that line to continue pushing today and to see if we can get it back there towards these highs, right? The 60 looks like it's standing out. You got a nice little pullback, nice little round action off that 9 EMA. We can look for this to continue going through into the 60s and then getting back there towards this kind of 62 level. And of course, why is this moving? Well, just because at the end of the day, it's one of these bargain outlets. And if the inflation is going to stay higher, people will be shopping for some discounts. So this is not a bad stock to keep a watch on. Ollie's bargain outlet. We'll see what happens if it can get back above the 60s. Definitely one of the setups for it to watch out for. Target also making a nice little move back up We'll see what happens on this one. I'm thinking about taking a shot for it to come back up, but that is really dangerous there because it is in a long-term kind of bearish pattern. It's been down here for a very long time. So first, I think I'm going to wait to see a good report come from Target, but by then it could be already filling the gap. Dollar Tree bouncing back a little bit today. So Dollar General, also those names that already got hit, look to see if maybe they start bouncing back as we continue to see what inflation higher. All right, let's keep going. Let's get to some other names. ADM is one that I've had for a while now. Been holding it off this 81 for a while. You guys can see on the daily how many kind of bottoming actions we've had there. This was looking really good yesterday. Of course, yesterday towards the open, I had to deal with some things. So I did not close the position there at the 83. Wanted to take some profits into the 83. Was looking for the push towards 84 overall. On this one, we're in at the 82 mark or slightly below that, 81.92s. And so yesterday, yeah, I would have liked to have taken some little profit, but that's how it happens sometimes. We'll see if it breaks through that 81. That's definitely the getting out moment for myself. All right, catching up with the chat. What's going on out there, team? In a little bit, we'll be joined by none other than Beginner Trade, so stick around. The Ollie where I live isn't the nicest. More Dollar General shoppers. Yeah, I agree. I would say that Ollie's most of the time isn't the prettiest store, right? But something to keep in mind, right? We'll see what happens on that little setup. It did push through kind of the 58, 59 today. I'm going to be looking for pullbacks, maybe 58, 50s, 58 on this one. But if it can pull back, it won't be looking too bad for the next ride up. What's up? Just got in. Pawn trades. We'll move those pawns, baby. Let's get them started. What's your move? Queen Gamblet? What's your move? What's your opening move? Let me know, Pawns Trade. We'll take a look. All right, right now, just taking a look at some of the swing trades that I've been in. I talked about some of the ones that I've gotten out of. I've talked also about how Best Buy is one I'm looking for it to come back down, but it could stop me out on that one. Conagra is one that we're into the green. Let's talk about one that I got caught in right now that it could just get me out of this one. I'm keeping an eye on Caterpillar to the short side. So I've already gotten into this one, but really close to getting stopped out above here towards 237s. Going to give this a little bit of room because I did come in with a very small size and could even add to the name, but the way that it's trading on the day, I'm just going to leave it be. I got in there at 234.95, so pretty much right by the VWAP, about 235s. So I'm going to just keep looking throughout the day to see if we do get to pop back through the kind of highs. Don't want it to come back through kind of this hourly trend. Want it to continue just trending down. If it's okay, if we get a little bit of a bounce back, but after that, it should come right back towards the 235s. A move back up above 237s will get me out of this one. And that's Caterpillar. Why am I looking at Caterpillar? We're starting to look at Picard be weak earlier in the day. And that gave me the sign that we could be getting that pullback finally on these names. Look how this one turned around, came to support. It could bounce there, but I also saw Deere pretty weak coming back down to 417s. So I'm taking a little bit of a shot on that one. We'll see what happens. All right, let's keep going. There was a fight at our Walmart for milk. That's how it is right now, man. You got to be careful out there in the grocery stores, especially if you got that cheaper milk. Someone's going to get after you. Keep them elbows up. We'll see what happened. Like always, we got to find out what trades are doing well. Douglas PC, you got a trade for us? Nice trades and good volatility out there. That's for sure. Let us know what you got in. Buglog is into triple BY. Of course, I did see that get a little bit of a lift. We can talk about these kind of super big rippers that have been coming out as of late. This one got a little bit of a bounce. I know I'm not stepping in on Bed Bath & Beyond, but the pattern overall, it's holding this kind of like 155. Bug, you're at 145? We'll look to see if that can get moving. I know there's been stocks like Lunar that just been completely ripping through the moon. This stock even got a little bit of a bounce today, but quickly came right back down. We got to be careful on names like this. And it seems like it's been kind of the SPAC season coming back, right? What is it? BAER? Yeah, Bear Aerospace. This one got a big move today right out the gates. Went up there to 12. Now it's been going sideways around the $8 level. We'll see. Can these kind of aerospace plays continue to kind of just lift off? And is this one that's a swing trade opportunity? It's going to be difficult. I know I'm not going to swing trade on this one, but if I did, I'd have to hold off somewhere between the 650 level and 623 below it, because of course you got to be careful with this one because it's high percentage on these pullbacks. Like that pullback from 12 to where we're at now, that's 36%. So just be careful out there. We'll see what happens. And no egg fights, man. No eggs. Those things are like gold. I'm with you, Easy. That's too expensive. Throw diamonds instead. Playing that range in the Qs, says Douglas. All right. Qs definitely ranging from up to bottom, right? Hourly charts, right? You guys can see that. It came down there towards that 290, right back up there. Look at the high there, 292.34s, just kind of bouncing in between there. So if you're able to play it, maybe you're trading a little bit of the Sox S trade back and forth, or maybe Sox L trade back and forth. Very similar moves. We'll see what happens on these. Definitely in the Qs, it was kind of a little bit of a battle. We're starting to hold the VWAP. SPY now pulling back a little bit after making that push towards 397. We'll look to see if we close closer towards 395. All right, let's keep going. What else is out there? Justin, if you got a ticker, throw it up. Smash the like, team. If you guys are enjoying the show so far, let's keep looking at different trades. And we can go into sectors. Energy doing well today. Let's take a look at some of these energy trades that did do well. Of course, let's look at some of our bigger leaders. XOM bouncing back a little bit from that 109 area. Chevron bouncing back a little bit. So keeping my eyes on these. ConocoPhillips just sideways now. Look to see if we can get back above the 106 there. Keeping a close eye also on what? The Slumberger. It stopped me out earlier in the week, but now starting to really kind of put more of that bottoming action slightly below this towards 52.27s. We're going to look to see if this can come back up towards the end of next week towards 56. If it does do that, it is making its way back. We'll see what happens on some of these oil names. I know someone, Dennis Dick, was keeping an eye out on Oxy down here at the 56, 57 level. This has been going kind of red and ugly. We'll look to see if finally Warren takes some buy, but it hasn't done well in the past. This is one that I'll put on the radar, MPC. Why? Because you got this nice bottoming levels right below it that you can kind of risk off of. And now you kind of have this trend line that if you can close back above this towards, let's say, the 130s, 135, this is not a bad one to keep in mind. I'm going to keep this one on my radar, even set an alert above here towards the 127 level where it could get a nice little push to the upside. All right, that's MPC, Marathon Petroleum Corp. I know that even Mark Chaikin liked this one for a while, and I haven't heard his update on this one, but something to keep in mind. All right, let's keep going. ES Clean today, midday reversal off the fib retracement, longer time frame, low of day. Something to keep in mind. Oh, and that's a beautiful chart. I agree, Justin. There's not many that will give you that kind of nice level to go off of. This is clear, right? 121.55s, 121.67. Today you go to 121.54. So right around that 121.50s to 60s, I would look to see as support. All right, finally, Best Buy showing a little bit of some topping action. I've talked about how it could get stopped out through that 84.50s. Going to look to see if we can actually start closing back towards the VWAP. That would be a good outlook towards 83.50s. That's what we'll look for. We'll see if we can even get it. SPY coming right back down here. We'll look to see some of our leadership. How's Apple doing? Apple was just going sideways to the red side today. Microsoft, the same thing, still leaking in Microsoft. We thought maybe this could come back, but really it hasn't. Amazon also into the red, pretty much all of them into the red. Tesla was one that I was looking for a move back towards 199 or 200 to get short. And it's up there towards 197 and even got up there earlier in the day towards kind of 198, but not into the 199s yet. So I'm going to wait to see if I can take that one down. And of course, you got to remember, though, Tesla is going to have an event on March 1st. So that's just next week, Wednesday. So you got to be careful on a name like Tesla. Keep that in mind, team. Whenever you're trading something, what are the upcoming catalysts that can turn this around or push the stock against me? Definitely smash the like. What other ones are being mentioned in the chat? SGY. I'll take a look at that one for you. Let's see what's SGY. I don't even have that one, I think. Sure Energy Inc. Is that a new one? Surge Energy. Oh, but this is on TSX. That's why I don't have it. RAM. I don't trade really TSX stocks, but I don't know if this is the one that you were looking at. RAM Energy. It is starting to come back, at least on the weekly. At least on that case, it does look interesting, but it needs to get back there towards the upside. You can see this kind of bottoming support, symmetrical triangle here in between the consolidation. You need to get back there towards the 10. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at some other ones. VZ decided to stay above the low 38s. Let's go to that one. Verizon definitely not looking good. Rejected that move back towards the upside. This does not look good by any means. It keeps getting back towards that downside action, even on bounces. T-Mobile stayed strong. This one doesn't look too bad if it can hold around the 143s and recover back towards 150. I've talked about this earlier today, how really T-Mobile has been a monster investment stock, but we'll look to see if it can hold around the 143s, 140 area, and it's not been a bad play. All right, let's get back to basic materials. Let's keep looking for some different plays out there, team. There's one area that I've been looking at, and I called it out on Wednesday before I left. I was looking at some kind of specialty chemical plays, agricultural input plays. One that I was looking at was MOS. Why? Because it looked like it was bunching up here. You can see that from the line. I created this on the 22nd, and now we've actually starting to break above it. We held pullback to that trend line today. This one actually looking not bad at all. This is Mosaic Company, an agricultural input company. You can see on the hourly how we pulled back right towards that yesterday, bounced off that. Today, we even pulled back to the 50-50 level, even a slightly bit below that towards 50-39, bouncing again. So I can even start putting a line there, looking for another touchdown near that I could risk slightly below that towards maybe the 50s. So we'll look for some pullbacks on Mosaic to take a nice little up move in Mosaic. You can see here a nice little pattern, V bottom, starting to hold, kind of like a cup and handle pattern here on the weekly, right? You can see how you kind of came up, you pulled back. Now you're really trying to get moving up there towards the 52s and towards the 55. We'll see what happens on Mosaic, MOS. All right, what's up out there? It looks like beginner trading stepping into the back. He'll be joining us soon, so smash the like, team. Jay Rice, what you looking at? LNTH. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look there. LNTH. Let's go towards it. Nice little pushback. Diagnostics and research stock really kind of jumped up there. I don't know why this stock is gapping, but at least from my technical analysis, I would say just hold kind of the 67.50 or 67 spot. You're not looking too bad here. Let's go to the 15-minute. Looks like you kind of had this kind of sideways rectangle pattern and you finally broke above that. Look to see if it starts acting as support, right? Whenever you get these rectangles and you break above it, you're going to see the price action come up and you look for it to hold that price action on pullbacks. It's very similar to what's happening here on this chart. You can see on the 15-minute, you get back above and look how it starts just holding the pullbacks. That's what I'd be looking for it to hold to. And the high there on that first candle was 71.30s. So around that 71 to 71.30s, that's where I would be looking for support to hold here on LNTH, and then look for that nice little continued break. Next level on the daily to watch for is going to be around 74.66. And that's also kind of a resistance to the left of this prior. We'll look to see if we run into resistance there, or does it continue to run? And also, this just to kind of state that looks like a nice little inverse head and shoulders there off the bottom. Of course, you kind of wick lined and gapped up through that. So I don't know how much I would hold to that, but that definitely does look like a little neckline there, a nice expansion to the upside. All right, that's enough on LNTH. We'll take a look at some other names like always. What you think of the bear? I already talked about the bear, man. It looks like it's trying to hold like this 8 pullback. I talked about it. It looks like that's what it's trying to do. Of course, this is not my style of trade. And if I would try to trade like this, I would be very careful. What I'd be using? I'd be using kind of more of the hourly chart, trying to get near the support so that I have the next layer down to risk off of. What do I mean by next layer? There's always like layers of support, right? So like around here, looks like we're recovering the 750 area multiple times, trying to get back there towards 960. But I could risk off of maybe getting in there at 760s, 780s, and risking off that maybe that $7 level below it. We'll see what happens there on the bear. BAER, Bridger Aerospace Group Holdings. And of course, this one coming off the heels from the lunar trade. Honestly, these are the trades you really got to be careful, especially I was watching on lunar and it was just so like illiquid. So be careful on trades like that. All right, let's keep going. We can take a look at some other ones. I see Square mentioned in the chat. In a second, we'll get to our interview. Block, right? Bouncing back today. Of course, this one was already kind of deep into the green. So it just kind of pulled back towards the support around 74, bounced right back there to 77. Will this one actually get moving out of the range? I think this is one that you can just keep on your daily, like kind of watch. If it can really break above here towards, let's say 83s or 85s, it won't be looking too bad. But also same thing for that outlook is if you start cracking back below this kind of 71, 91 period, I think you'll get back there to the 60s. This is one of those where at least you know you're out. You know where you want to get out. Probably that's below 72s. And of course, if this breaks back there through that high there, 81.01, that's where I think we could push there maybe towards the 85s. And this one will also run with PayPal. Let's just be honest, right? If Square is really going to run, I'll look for PayPal to lag behind it. So I don't have to worry too much about Block. I can just look to see, okay, if Block gets another jump up, I'll look for some buy the dippers to come in for PayPal. We'll find out what happens there. All right, getting out of that one. That one's the one that Patrick wanted to take a look at. What other ones are being mentioned? How about MP Materials? How about that one, Chris? I did see a nice daily setup on that one, setting up there. I already have the lines drawn for us. Look at this 4-hour chart, right? You guys know I like hourly charts. Like always, this looks like a nice little push right into the resistance and giving us an ability to look at the daily, right? Look back at the daily. You can see multiple resistance. Multiple time frames are starting to line up. The hourly looking good here. The 15-minute chart, not looking too bad. Now, one thing I will state there is you can see the volatility in the name, right? So keep that always in mind so that you don't get caught in these volatility moves down. Like when this is coming to support, that's a 9% pullback, $3. So you got to be careful on a stock that's moving that much in an intraday action. We'll look to see if it can really start getting back through the highs. Look to the left. What is your first little gap area? You're trying to get back there towards that 33.80s. If you can fill in this little gap back towards the upside, that's where I feel like you can test back towards the 35s. And look how it lines up with that last time that you went right up there, tried to hold it even on this inside day, and then the next day you broke back below it. Let's see if that kind of action happens here, but we get that nice expansion above the trend line on MP Materials. And of course, this is more of that lithium name. So look to see if strong lithium names can bounce back. I know PLL started turning back to the downside. So look to see if you get a bounce on that. Lithium, LAC, LTHM. But of course, if the autos go away, one thing that I have seen is that these stocks will go away. So keep your eyes on like Ford and GM. When those go down, when Tesla goes down, a lot of the times these lithium names come down also. ALB, SQM. Take a look at some of the bigger lithium names. Like always, I keep an eye out on some of the leaders to see how they're doing. And you can see how SQM has really been struggling. And even, if anything, not really getting that same trend to the upside that you had when you were up here, right? This was kind of more the breakout period. And this has been kind of more of that correction phase. All right, that's going to do it for my outlook. Like always, you guys can keep watching on what else is going out there. Jay giving us some good information in the chat, talking about retail names reporting next week, KSS, Macy's, Costco, Dollar Tree, etc. Definitely retail names. I'll tell you right now, there's a reason why I'm looking at Best Buy. I don't think their earnings are going to be that great or their outlook looking forward. But of course, I have to try to get ahead of that. We'll find out if it works out. Right, getting out of this, like always, we want to keep bringing on different traders, right, to give us perspective. So I'm going to bring on a trader right now that I have worked with myself. And I tell you guys right now, always happy to go ahead and bring on beginner trading. If you guys don't know this community, they're a live trading community out on YouTube that you guys can join every single day as they live trade. That's what it's all about, like always. So let's go ahead and bring on the man himself, John London, beginner trading. What's going on,
What's
my
up,
friend?
man? Hey, good to see you, man. Good to see you, man. Happy to be here.
Damn, John, you read all those books since I was gone?
Bro, listen, man. I'm storing a library here. I never read any of them, if I'm being honest, but but I can look smart with my books over there.
I love it. I love it. You got to have a bookcase, got to fill it up. That's what I like to hear. How's the community been? I wanted to even show it off. I wanted to show it off, guys. You guys, look what I got here. Look what I got
bro,
here.
from Eric, man. You got that from Eric, right?
Hey,
yeah, man.
Yeah,
hey,
man.
I saw Eric. Eric showed up a couple weeks ago, man. I still have mine too. Hey, look at that, dude.
Beginner trading. Yeah, baby.
OG.
Yeah, I used to be called, just to put it in perspective, I used to be called Mitch Guys Trading.
I think I might start. I think I've been saying guys just as much as you used to anymore now. I think being on YouTube, you just say guys a lot. I do it all the time, man.
Hey, it happens to the best of us. Let's get to the stocks at least. I just wanted to give you guys the perspective that the people that I bring out here, team, are people that I always keep up with. I think it's very important that you kind of keep up with some traders out there. Some will trade directly close to how you trade. Some will trade a little bit different. But I always think it's great to definitely have that community of traders to go to. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look. If you'd like, you can share your screen here.
Yeah,
you can hit the present button. We can take a look at some of your ideas.
Okay, I got you, man. So basically, I've evolved since you and I traded a bunch, Mitch. I've kind of evolved to more of like a swing trading style of a trader anyway. Like most of the time what I trade with, and I'm going to preface it with like, look, I'm not judging anybody else for how they trade. Everybody trades differently. So this is just how I trade, right?
Exactly.
But I avoid mid caps and I mostly trade blue chip like Apple, Disney, Amazon, a lot of tech stocks, but Ford, I'll buy Ford. Snapchat is one of them, which is kind of the closest thing to a mid cap that I'll trade. And I just look for really extended pullbacks short term. So I look for a lot of the time they happen over earnings. So earnings, Amazon had really like not even super bad earnings, but they had negative earnings and they dropped 20%. I think it was like a quarter ago. They dropped like 20% from that earnings report. And I just kind of scooped some up after the drop. I wrote it up about 10%, 12%, and took my profit very quickly. One of the aspects of it though is that I don't mind holding a while either. I think this was right here when Amazon had this really bad earnings report. I remember they dropped from like 115 or 120 all the way down to like 90s. So I scooped some up and it rebounded pretty quickly. It might have been here. This might have been the rebound that happened pretty quickly. But Snapchat is another one, man. Snapchat, hundreds of millions of daily active users. And again, I'm not going to hold Snapchat forever, but let me see if I can find a longer term chart to show you. But again, another big dip from earnings. I think this was earnings right here. Another big dip where I slowly started to scale in. This last trade, which was, let me find it. The last trade was here, I guess. I remember I averaged in, no, it was a little bit higher than this. The last trade was right here. Yeah, here it was. So after their earnings, which I think were right here on the 31st, I got it at $9.99. Same concept, hundreds of millions of daily active users, monetization problems. But I guess I just look for big emotional reactions to the downside.
Love it.
Yeah, and if they're healthy companies, then I don't mind holding them a long time. I'm not going to hold Snapchat very long just because, it's Snapchat. But Disney drops down to $90. I love the $90, $95 level for Disney. It's not quite there yet. The latest one was Microsoft. I started to scale into Microsoft, and this was a little bit different from how I normally trade just because it wasn't as extended on the downside as I necessarily like it to be. But I started to scale in. AI hype pushed it up, and then it had a decent pullback down to like 260s or 260s. And so I started to scale in from 260s down to 250s and got out the rest of it this morning. And I can show you the profit taking that I did on it today. I got out just in time too, but I did get out in time. Let me find the picture. Here it is right here. And I can actually pull it up on the chart too if you guys want, but scaled out this morning before the big dip and, made money on that one as well. So Yeah, man, just healthy companies. Mid caps, I just don't like them as much. I think there's a lot of risk. I think sometimes people overhype mid caps, and I think with
Hmm.
my swing trades, the idea essentially is like I have a large enough account where I can average in over a long period of time if I need to, and kind of bag hold them. And if it really turns out bad, I can either cut it, or if it's something that I truly believe in long term, I can just hold it long term. But most of the time, if I buy it right after like big emotional reactions on the downside, I'm generally taking profit and getting out green in about 80% or more of these trades over the last like three to 4 months. So, yeah, man, it's been fun.
Yeah, I like the overreaction trades also, because really what we're doing there is more taking advantage of the psychology, right? It's not
Right.
necessarily only just technicals, only just story. It's also thinking about the psychology, right? And that factor, and how there's always either over exuberance on the upside and also like pessimism on the downside, right?
100%.
They see a big down move. All of a sudden, all the bears want to talk about it, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, they see a big pop. Well, all the bulls come out of the
To the
well
moon.
works, and they're like, "Yo, I've been saying that this is going to go to the moon for like 5 years now, bro." Like,
Right.
and
100%,
that's
man.
that I think is easy to kind of capture, almost easy sometimes,
Yeah,
because
man.
one of the things that I've been learning more and more about is that, sometimes we like to think that trading is like logical, when really it's not, man. If it was just straight logics, I mean, bro, we would just go like line 32.
Right. Exactly. It would
And
just be
that's what I
easy.
should trade, right? I
Right.
mean, and I think at that point, you could definitely take advantage of also the kind of people that just don't understand these, what some people would refer as illogical moves, but really
Right.
it's just over exuberance or that just overconfidence into a move. And all of a sudden it just starts leaking its way back, leaking its way back. And I
Right.
know that you've probably seen, like myself, John, I've been talking about it. There's been so many gap fills that had been like, how the hell did we get back there?
Oh, SQ did it today, I think, right? SQ did
Yeah,
it today. I think it
yeah.
filled out perfectly. It filled the gap all the way down, exactly down to the previous closing price. Like if you look at it, it gaps up, and then here's the previous close right here, this light blue line. It literally went straight down to the bottom of it, right to the previous closing price, and then bounced right back up off of this blue line right here. So, gap fills are psychological. It's like people think they're going to happen, so they happen. And a lot of it is just like a new trader will look at a gap up, and they'll say, okay, well, this is strong. An experienced trader will look at like a 10 or 20% gap up and say, okay, well, this is probably extended now. Profit taking is going to occur at
Yeah.
the open. And like that's what this is. It's just people saying, hey, we wrote it up a lot. Let's take profit. And so it comes right back down. And then people say, hey, well, it's pulling back now. Let's buy it up. And then it goes right back up. So it's something you see every day. And if you can learn to just kind of condition yourself to see the extension and then capitalize on it, as long as you don't get too greedy, as long as you can kind of scale out and slowly take profit if you need to, or slowly scale in, even if you want to do that. If you pick the stocks right, it could work really, really well.
Definitely. And I think that, you just got to find what works for you. And especially sometimes that might not be what everyone likes to trade. And I think that's the important thing also in what you're doing there. And you're letting them know, hey, if you don't like to trade like this, by all means, you
Right.
don't need to. But I have found something that's working for me, and I'm gonna keep using it.
That's right, man. Listen, I get so many people when I take these trades. So many people are mad at me for taking them. It's surprising. It's like they're angry. I'm buying
No,
Snapchat.
no.
Yeah, they call
But I
that
see a bear pennant there. How you doing that, John?
right. They insult me, man. They call me names, and I'm just kind of like, hey, just wait. And then it goes up 15% in a couple days, and then it's just kind of crickets. You just don't hear anything else. But it works. It works. You just gotta again, these blue chip companies, in my opinion, it's like they're gonna go up long term. Apple's going to go up long term. Disney owns Star Wars, Marvel, ESPN. They're going to go up long term, in my opinion, as well. And so it's like if you can wait for them to pull back some and just have deep extended pullbacks, I love buying those up, and I'll hold it for years if I need to. But usually I don't have to. Usually I can take profit within a couple weeks, maybe a couple months if I get unlucky. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad outlook there, and especially you're trading kind of the blue caps, the kind of the bigger stocks that you don't have to worry about when you go to sleep, right? I mean, yeah, it might take a hit.
Right.
We've seen what happened to Nvidia, right? I mean,
Oh,
it took a bleeding. It went down there. It went down to even almost $100. everyone was calling Nvidia to 50, and now we're back to 231. So
Right. Yeah,
that's just how it works, right? And I mean,
100%.
we can't always have one way of looking at it. And what I like about this more strategy is kind of more what I would call more even position trading. And so it's from like swing moving into position trading, not necessarily long term yet, but I think you're really close to that. But what that gives you as an ability is you're looking for deeper time frames.
Right.
You're not confused with all that little tick nonsense.
Nah, man. Like one of the biggest edges you'll have in the stock market in general is that the S&P 500 stocks, the blue chips, those are going to go up long term. Is the biggest edge you'll ever find in the markets. They'll give you 8 to 12% on average a year. And so this is just saying, hey, look, I'm going to wait for a little bit higher edge pullbacks when they're really extended on the downside and just riding them up. You should never do it with penny stocks. Even mid caps is kind of like, if you try to do this with mid caps, some mid caps are just going to dive bomb and they're never going to come back. But if you do them with companies that people know that you use daily, or you use regularly in your life, that they're obviously going to be around in 5 years, then, you can let patience, time heals a lot of wounds. And so you can just kind of be patient and let them work,
Yeah, I think another one that's starting to pull back now that might give us an opportunity is Netflix. Like it's pulling back there, and that was a huge gap fill back to the upside. When that thing was down at 200, everyone was like, "Oh, no one watches Netflix no more."
Right, for sure. No, I remember telling them I covered the earnings for it, and I remember being like, "Hey, look, I like Netflix's content.
Yeah,
like the Adam Project was dope, dude. Yeah, I liked it, man." But that's how people get like bears who are holding put options, man. And again, I short stuff, so I'm not judging, but sometimes you just dislike a stock, and I get it,
especially when they talk about their stock, right?
Yeah, for sure. They hate.
Then they're really upset.
Yeah. But it's
the
like,
other day, I was seeing like they were showing like a Cybertruck, and it was like trying to climb like some like little hill, and some people were like, "Oh, you see, this can't even be a 4x4 vehicle. Short Tesla right now."
No, man, I'm not shorting Tesla.
There's no need, guys.
I might not long it, but I'm not shorting it.
I think the thing that we all need to is that, especially when we trade like off of like patterns and one specific way, understand that they work, but they work for a certain period of time, right? And I think that that's what's very hard about pattern style trading is that it can work, but you got to know when it doesn't work, so that you don't just lose all that money that you just made.
Yeah, for sure. Like your ability to cut losses is the best skill you can ever have in trading. If you don't have that ability to cut losses, like you're just going to keep getting yourself in trouble. So it's like, it's something you have to condition. You got to get used to it, and you got to trade small because of that. But like, if you could build that skill of taking of cutting losses, finding good strategies is easy, but they, like you said, they do change, man, for sure. One thing will work great for like a couple weeks, and then it'll completely change. Cup and handles will work for a couple weeks, and then that won't work. And then range breakouts will work, and then that won't work. And
and you've seen it. You've seen it. You've seen it. I think that's what happens also with experience, right? Is that a lot of traders, when they first come in here, they're like, "Yo, but I saw this guy on YouTube said this works 78% of the time. I'm golden, baby."
It did, but it stops. It doesn't do it anymore.
It did for probably about 3 weeks, and then
for sure.
You didn't see what happened the next 3 weeks, but hey, that's just how it is, man. And I think you do a great way in your community, always telling them that, hey, look, find what works, man. And you got to look around and maybe not stick to one tool, because I feel like if you're only a trader that has one tool, you're just like everything, right? You're going to get broken at some time when that environment is not good for that tool.
For sure. You got to just learn how to get into it's kind of like a flow state is really what it is. Like if you watch the market every single day at the opening bell, you kind of have it in your head, okay, these are working over the last week. This is not working. You might want to wait 20, 30 minutes after the bell to trade because the first 20 or 30 minutes have been choppy. It's kind of like a flow state that you only get from paying attention to it every single day. Like not every day necessarily, but like at least the majority of days of the week. If you watch the market, you'll kind of understand the nuance of it at that day,
All right. Well, I'm throwing up your link here so that everybody can go ahead and get a nice subscribe. We got to get you to 200,000. I heard you hit that 1,000, baby.
Yeah, man, I got the check mark. I'm a man of note, a man of
I
worth, man. I'm
love
like the
it.
Dos Equis
Love
guy
it.
right now. I'm loving life.
Hey, well, proud to hear that you guys are still growing out there, beginner trading. You guys can check out John London and everything he trades, and it's a great community also. Like he's
Hey, thanks,
up
brother.
early in the morning talking about different catalysts out there. If you guys want to jump into a room, by all means, I tell you guys to check out beginner trading. We'll definitely have you back, John. And who knows, maybe we make this a little bit of like a monthly or bi-weekly meeting where you can come on and give some of
Yeah,
your
man.
trades.
Hey, I'd love to, man. Let me know, man. Yeah, I appreciate it for sure. And yeah, y'all have good luck, man, this weekend. Hopefully, the UFC fights are good, and we'll see how those are. But yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, you see out there, you're getting some good love in the chat. They love you, John. Have a good
All
one.
right.
And we'll
Thanks,
have you
man.
back on, my friend.
Thanks,
Take
brother.
care. All right, that's going to do it for our interview today. I hope you guys enjoy talking a little bit to beginner trading. And I got to say, deeper time frames, you guys hear somebody talking about deeper time frame pullbacks, right? And one thing that's going to help you is get away from that, that 1 minute chart, right? oh, those 1 minute charts, man. I don't know if you guys were watching like a stock like Lunar today on a 1 minute chart, but that will give you a little bit of a heart attack. Look at this thing at the beginning. Look at these gaps and kind of just halts that were just going around. Yeah, there's nothing better than just seeing a stock, right? Just go up, a good 57%, then very quickly down another 15%. Oh, no, we're going to go down at 30%. And then we're going to come back up 58 or 40%. Well, the truth is, team, not everybody can trade that. Let's just be honest. And if you can, power to you, my friend. Power to you. If you're able to make money on that, well, just keep going forward in life. And I think we'll all be calling you because we want to ride in the Lamborghini. But majority of traders will struggle with trades like that. Even if you try to swing trade a trade like that, right? Because the percentage change and the volatility in the stock is so high that it's hard to control your risk at that point. And so even if you are somehow controlling your risk, are you truly getting that kind of profit that you were looking for? It's like I talk about a lot of the times, we need to look back if our processed approach is matching the results, right? If I say I'm trading 3-to-1, 4-to-1, am I really trading 3-to-1, 4-to-1? Because if I'm not, I'm going to ruin all probability on my side, right? I want to still stay with probability on my side. And a lot of times when you trade names like this that are going to the moon, coming back down, going back up, we start losing that approach. We start losing how we're going about it in profit to loss ratio. And next thing you know, one bad trade can ruin your probability. And you worked hard for those 50 trades prior to this. Let's not lose those 50 trades. Let's stay disciplined. And if anything, if you have to, tell yourself, hey, that's not my type of stock. Get a pat on the back. Do what you got to do, right? All right, let's get back to the stocks right quickly. It's about 3:45. We're going to start wrapping up soon. Let's take a look at the SPY action here. You can see the SPY came down to 395.50s, just bouncing around right there. We'll look to see if we keep coming down. I talked about when we come down to the 395 spot. That's kind of where I can see us kind of closing up. Let's get to the daily chart here. I'll put it up here. You guys can see we're trying to close back below the 50. I know everybody was like, but we bounced off the 50 yesterday. We're going to hold it today. It didn't seem like it, but we'll keep watch, right? 15 minutes, 1 hour charts are definitely my favorite. The reason why I like the 1 hour chart is that you're going to see a lot of the kind of the institutional traders have that up on their screen. So I watch 15-hour, 4-hour charts, right? I love daily charts, just keeping it simple, daily and monthlies, because there's certain stocks that just move off of weekly and monthly charts. I was talking about one this morning that I was looking at, which was Booking. Booking is not a stock that I'd look at on a daily. I'd look at this on more of like a weekly. And then when I put it on the weekly, I'm like, well, that doesn't look like a bad trend up here, right? It looks like it's holding the 2400 pullback, held the breakdown towards 2330s, and now can go for that 2500 break. Well, all types of things that it's going to help you if you use different time frames. All right, that's going to do it for us today. We got a couple stocks from the chat. We'll take them from there, and then we'll wrap up the day. NVIDIA was one that I wanted to take a look at to see if this could continue. This one did do a little bit of a gap. Is it going to crap and come right back down into that gap, or will it expand through the 240s? Something to keep on watch. We'll We'll see what happens there in NVIDIA. All right, let's get back to Best Buy and some of the swing trades and review that right quick. We didn't get stopped out in that Best Buy through the 84.50s. It got close, went to 84.39. So I'm just going to hold off that 84.50s for now, because I do think that if we get this daily trend to break 82s, I think I'll be looking a lot clearer there on Best Buy. We're still in this ADM, could get stopped out below 81 tomorrow. We'll see what happens on Archer, Daniel Midland. We can look at Canara Brands. This one's just hanging in there, slightly green there. And Cat just slightly into the red right now, but it's coming back for that kind of 235 outlook. We'll look to see if this one holds 237. That's the risk on this one. Going to look to see if Cat starts breaking down through the 233 spot. If we break through 233s, I think we can get through the 230s and really start pulling back here towards the long-term trend, which is more on a monthly chart. And if you expand this line on the monthly chart, you broke out of this, will we come back here towards like around the 207, 218 spot? I think we could see that pullback starting. All right, that's going to be Caterpillar. I'll take a look at the stocks from the chat. I have an update on the AMD trade. What's up with that, Brian? Let us know. How's it been? AMD, let's take a look here. Daily is just going sideways right now on AMD. Let me take off some of these lines. Let's go to the scratch so we could take off some of this. We were looking at this, right, to see if we were going to fill in some of this gap and bounce off of it. We still haven't fully filled that gap. I think AMD could fill that gap to 75 before we can get that next push towards the upside. But one thing to keep in mind, right, you have now, you tried to get up there towards the 85. You tried to do kind of a correction move towards that. You couldn't do it. So just keep watch to see if you come and fill this on the downside, and then maybe look to see if we get a recovery around 75. Off of sympathy on NVIDIA earnings, it's hanging in there. But when does AMD report? AMD already got there, right? Yeah, it already did report. So, I mean, I think you're going to be hanging in there for the next major report to see if you can get up there. But definitely off the weekly, 7203s, if that breaks, I think I'd want to get the hell out of there. So that's going to be down here towards these lows below the gap. And so if it breaks that, that's where it gets a little bit scary for me. But like always, you make your own choice there. Tesla. I was looking at Tesla to see if we could get to 199s today, because that's where I wanted to short. And it was going to be a short little swing to the next day. But you can see here, we are looking a little bearish here, but you got to be careful because it's just sideways action. It's not like completely cut through. I talked about how the 191 below is really what you want to be seeing. You can see how you're starting to get the price action to close below the 9 EMA. That is a good turnaround level to look at, but really you're calling a momentum stock to the downside. So you got to be very, very careful whenever you're trading momentum away. You're fighting the trend. And remember, they clearly say to not fight the trend. So if you are, you got to respect that trend, like always. All right, we'll see what else is being called out. I looked at them, but it all depends on what type of trading I do. 1 minute when I'm looking to get in and out quick. I did that on Tesla today. Agreed, Justin. We're not saying that the 1 minute chart is not in use. We're taking more of that longer term trade, right? If you want to have a time frame in trade that is going to be minutes, well, then that might make sense to trade the 1 minute. But if you want to be in a trade for maybe some days or weeks, it might make sense to use a daily or weekly chart, right? Just keep in mind, a lot of times traders talk about this. What your time frame is should matter in how you trade. And that is going to keep you on top of your game. All right, definitely smash the like button. Oxy's been struggling today. We already kind of peeked at that, but I'll wrap up with that one. We'll look to see if we get back into the happy buy zone of Warren Buffett, which is between kind of this gap zone here around the 57 to 55 area. We'll look to see if we do get a little bit more dip buying there from Warren Buffett. Douglas saying that makes a lot of sense, and it does. It completely does. And a lot of times you'll find like experienced traders, the first thing they ask themselves, or they ask a trader about a trade, is what time frame are you looking for this trade to work out in? Because that's going to tell you a lot of how they're thinking, right? Is this more of a daily swing pivot to the downside, right? Like you could be shorting Oxy right here, right? Let's say if you wanted to short off of it, you can see that you broke what? A long-term kind of trend line, right? You break that trend line here. You can see how you kind of broke through that. We can even make it on the weekly to make it a little bit cleaner, right? You can see how you broke through that trend. So now you have levels to go off of, right? You have this kind of resistance above 61, let's say. And now you could short to go on the downside for that 55 fill. The key there would be that you're on a weekly outlook and you're looking for the next maybe week or two for it to close this gap back towards 54. Things like that is what's going to tell you a lot about how a trader is going about his system. All right, let's take a quick peek back to the SPY. Did we get towards the 395 spot? Looks like we've just been leaking. We got close there. 395.05 team. Not doing too bad there for trying to call the close there at 395, but we'll see what happens next. And definitely, we didn't get the numbers that we wanted to see today, but the SPY didn't just completely just tank, right? It did fight a little bit. We'll look to see if we crack through the 200-day in the next couple of days. I don't expect that to act as much support. I don't expect moving averages to act as support a lot of the times. What I expect moving averages to more along do is give us description. And one thing is clear, when the 9 EMAs and price action started closing, look how the price action was closing above. It did this one crack day. And what happened? 9 EMA closed above there. And the next day you recovered and you started doing price action that was above the 9 EMA. And then all of a sudden, boom, started getting that reconfirmation of that crack right here at the 408. That's when we really started breaking the price action. Now look where the 9 EMA is. It's clearly above. Let's look to see if that can turn back around. And when the SPY can reclaim 9 EMA, we can maybe look for a little bit more of that upside action. For right now, it looks like we're expanding away from it, and it could keep breaking down. All right, that's going to do it for me. It's about 3:54. Earnings are on Monday. Just keep watch on Oxy. We'll see what happens there. Thank you for that extra detail there. Of course, this is going to be the weekend. So you guys, like always, be careful out there. We'll see what happens when we come back on Monday. Will we continue the downside action? Will the Fed be thinking about 50 basis points? All different things to keep in mind. Like always, we can always keep watch. Do a little bit of a weekend watch list, take some charts, take a look, review your data on the weekend, not in the weekdays. I think this is really important. I think on the weekends, what we should be more along doing is reviewing our process for the week so that we can be ready and in the seat, knowing exactly how we've been trading so that we can stay with the trends and especially our personal data trends. These can really help you if you can really take control of understanding how you're trading right now. Are you on top of your game? Are you not on top of your game? Is one particular strategy working more than others? And I think we talked about that with beginner trading, our guest here today. And he said it, right? Sometimes the inverse head and shoulder is just going to be killing it. Sometimes the opening range trade is going to be killing it. You got to know what's doing well. And that's why you see traders talk about taking data so much, because you're trying to keep with what trends are working and what trends aren't. Very important. We'll see you next time, team. Smash the like button. And like always, enjoy your weekend. Check out, of course, our book club. We're about to finish our first book. You guys see Trading in the Zone. This is one of beginner trading's favorite. I'll tell you that right now. You guys can hit him up. Trading in the Zone, Mark Douglas. We're wrapping up this book just this week on our book club. I want you guys to continue following along so we have more books that will be coming out. I hope you guys join it. These are exclusive. What do I mean by exclusive? Only people from the book club get the link for the book club. Yes, we don't just put this out publicly on YouTube. Why? Because I wanted to make it an exclusive group that supports each other and has a community that's really trying to push itself to the next level. Yes, a truly supporting community where if you want to bring in a question because you don't understand something, no one's going to judge you for it. We all are trying to get better on that book club. So I want to see you guys there. I'll throw it up in the chat just to give you guys that link. Go ahead and check this out, team. I'm going to give you guys the book club link here really quickly, and then I'm going to wrap up. All right, we'll see you guys on Sunday. Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern is going to be the next one. And I do got a surprise. I got a book sent to me by the author that will be part of potentially the next books that we go into. So if you guys want to check that out, join us this weekend. I got also the Pure Equity Plan that was sent to me. This is by Peter Tanis. This is, of course, a retirement book on how you can maximize your retirement. So that will be a part of some of the multiple choice options for the book club so that we can keep going, reading some more books. We got a Japanese pattern charting book. And also, of course, we might take a look at The Market Wizard by, of course, Mark Minervini. You guys smash the like. We'll see you guys over at the book club this weekend, and keep growing right here on Benzinga, the #1 place to grow your trading and investing skills. You just got to push forward and keep watching our shows. We'll keep helping you keep growing.